Hello. Often when I'm researching these programs, I come across a piece of music that I think, oh, I must use that sometime, and I store it away. Um, I recently visited the place where I keep these pieces, and I wondered how I could use them, or at least some of them, in a program. Is there a theme? I wondered if that links these pieces. Well, I discovered that three of them did have a common denominator: poetry. And so I chose some other music that had the same link, and hence this programme on music inspired by, perhaps loosely or in some other way, by poetry, poems, or poets. So let's hear the first piece. I've previously featured music by the Australian composer Frederick Septimus Kelly. He was one of a number of promising young musicians who were killed in the First World War. He was killed at the age of 35 by machine gun fire towards the end of the Battle of the Somme in 1916. It was a sad loss for the world of music because he was a very talented musician, an excellent pianist, and a fine composer. He was educated at Eton and in Oxford, and he was well educated with the great and good of the day, people such as the poet Robert Brooke. Brooke developed sepsis following an infected mosquito bite, and he died on a French hospital ship off Greece in 1915. Frederick Septimus Kelly was part of Brooke's burial party. But just before the poet died, Kelly began work on a piece he called Elegy for String Orchestra in memoriam Robert Brooke. So let's hear it now. I don't know if any of you ever read the Psalms. I certainly don't, but I do know this. There's an argument for saying that the Psalms should be read as poetry. And that's exactly what the American composer Amy Beach did when she wrote By the Still Waters. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Beach's 3-minute piece for solo piano, inspired by the 23rd Psalm, seems to me to exude calm and reassurance. She wrote it in 1925 when, after the death of her husband and her mother, she travelled to Europe and she found herself influenced by French Impressionism. And you can hear that influence in this short piece of music. I think you can pick up the shimmering still waters alluded to in the psalm. So let's hear it. The pianist here is Sandra Mogensen. Right, well, let's have some Scottish music now, although it's performed by what I think is the most English of ensembles, the 16, conducted by Harry Christophers. Robert Burns wrote a poem called The Gallant Weaver, which another Ayrshire man, the composer James Macmillan, set to music, and the result is an a cappella piece which I think is quite beautiful. It seems that almost at any point in the song there's part of the choir that is holding a note, and the simple melody that's sung by part of the choir and then repeated as an echo by another part just makes this, I think, quite a lovely piece. So let's hear it now. This is The Gallant Weaver by James McMillan. In 1942, Richard Strauss wrote his last opera, Capriccio, which is really a very clever opera about an opera. It's set in France in the 18th century, and in it two people, one a composer and the other a poet, court a countess. She's asked which she prefers, poetry or music. And she's in a real pickle because she knows that they're equally important. And you're going to hear the Strauss sextet that opens Capriccio, and it serves not just as the overture to the opera, but is in itself the heart of the story. This is what makes it particularly clever. For this piece is the fictional composer's new work, and in the opera, this piece inspires debate among the characters on stage. In keeping with the story, the sextet you're going to hear is certainly backward looking. It opens with the lead violin playing a motif that recurs throughout the piece. The story is that Strauss granted the premiere of Capriccio to a particularly nasty Nazi official in return for a safe passage out of Germany for his son and part Jewish wife. By the way, which is more important, poetry or music? In the opera, the Countess doesn't make up her mind, and she tells herself that if she chooses one, she will win one of the suitors but lose the other, and she can't make up her mind which one to go for. So let's hear the string sextet from Richard Strauss's Capriccio as soon as I can find it, which is not always easy. Well, that concludes this video. There will be more poetry related music in the second video, and it will include what I perceived as being the centrepiece to this programme.